Welcome back. You're watching the biggest story tonight. We're all counting down to the 7th of September between 1:30 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. when India will land on the moon. From the takeoff, the GSLV Mark III takeoff on the 22nd of July to the soft landing on the 7th of September. Like a former ISRO chief put it, 90% of the job has been done. And we will be landing on the moon in a few hours from now. Republic TV has been getting you the biggest build-up, speaking to different space scientists to put this entire project into perspective and how big a moment this is going to be for India when that successful landing happens. Republic TV spoke to Nambi Narayanan, a space scientist, and also Mr. G. Madhavan Nair, the former ISRO chairman. This is Nambi Narayanan. He spoke to us this afternoon. Joining us on this special broadcast this evening is Mr. Nambi Narayanan, a space scientist, a Padma Bhushan, a cryogenic expert who spent many years at ISRO, India's pride. Mr. Nambi Narayanan, thank you for speaking to Republic TV. And, ISRO has achieved something in the last few hours. It's Chandrayaan-2 landing module comprising lander Vikram and rover Pragyan are closer to the moon in a 35 kilometer into a 101 kilometer radius. That's how close we are. For a layman who's watching the developments, Mr. Nambi Narayanan, I want you to take us through the different maneuvers that has brought Chandrayaan-2 closer to the moon, Mr. Nambi Narayanan. Let's start with that.
No, since the takeoff, maybe you have followed up everything what Chandrayaan did. But today morning, they have done the final maneuver. That final maneuver means that it is now brought to 112 by 35 point something. Exact values it is close to 35 kilometers by 112 kilometers. Now this was completed. That's the final maneuver. Now it is ready to be fired for the automatic landing, and they are going to wait. Working backwards, they want to land at 1:53 a.m. on the 7th. Early morning. So I think they will be probably putting it on the automatic landing system T-minus 48 hours, whatever is the time it will work out. From that point onwards, the entire thing goes in an automatic mode. I think the travel time from its 35 kilometers to the moon surface takes about 15 minutes, and after it has landed, I think the ISRO is going to wait for about 4 hours, so that the dust created by this landing can settle, and then you will get the first pictures of the surface of the moon. So this is hopefully going to be morning close to 6 o'clock on the 7th. These are the final maneuvers.
And joining us on this special broadcast is former chairman of ISRO, G. Madhavan Nair. Mr. Nair, thank you for speaking to Republic TV this evening. You spoke to us when the mission was being launched by ISRO. Such a proud journey it's been for Chandrayaan-2, and we're just hours away from Chandrayaan-2, Vikram and Pragyan, all of them landing on the moon. How big a moment are we anticipating, Mr. Nair? How big is this for India and also for ISRO?
It is going to be really a historic moment for ISRO as well as India. For the first time, one of the capsules which is made by ISRO is going to make a soft landing on the surface of the moon and let out a rover which will pick up signals from the surroundings and send back to us. So far, last mission we have attempted a landing, but it was a crash landing with a full speed of about 1.6 km per second. The capsule was dropped at a designated place, and it was not a very precise landing also. After landing, the whole thing shattered, but still the flag which is imprinted on the package is still there. Now this is going to be the attempt to break the orbit and slowly descend to the moon surface. There is a very complex maneuver is involved. First of all, there are 5 thrusters which have to be working in synchronization, and they are of variable thrust level. So it is developed for the first time in the country, and this is the first maiden flight for it.
Now, why the South Polar region? Is there more to it than just the unexplored point of view?
Well, earlier missions have concentrated, especially for the USA, Russia and others, in the equatorial region, then trying to get mostly the mineralogy and so on. In the last Chandrayaan-1, we have found that water is present in the moon, and its abundance is seen in the South Polar region. In case for future, if we want to establish an observatory or a manned station there, water becomes a very important element. That's one aspect. The second, this region is relatively cooler compared to the other places, and that way it will be easier to manage the instruments work in that hostile environment.
A word on our space journey so far and ISRO's space journey so far.
Well, if you recall, India has started its space program 20 years later compared to the other advanced countries. And also, India is the only country where the space exploration is undertaken in the civilian framework. But last 50 years of effort has shown that India has caught up with the world leaders in this field. We have the capability to build large rockets, take spacecraft to the Earth's orbit or beyond, and conduct useful experiments of Earth observation, planetary science, and so on. And above all, the communication system and the disaster management system are very unique. So that way we have established ourselves as a space power. But naturally the question arises, what next? As far as India is concerned, the only missing element was the capability to send a human being to outer space and bring back. This is what the Prime Minister has given major thrust, and the program has been cleared about a year back, and he has set a very tough target for ISRO to achieve. By 2022, we should have our astronauts flying around the Earth.
Okay, so we will get you the biggest build-up, the voices that matter, and the people who know about the Chandrayaan-2 project and who can put the entire significance of this moon landing in perspective for every viewer, what this means for India and our space project. That's it on the biggest story tonight.